Welcome back to That's Delivered. I'm your host, Truckin' Ray, and we have another episode for you today. Really happy to have two wonderful women that have been helping out in support of African American women in trucking, the series that we've been highlighting. We're excited to be joined by two, Lynn McLaughlin and Gail Keith. We're also welcoming Lynn back to the show. She's been on before, had a previous appearance where she shared her journey into the trucking industry and also hauling hazardous material, becoming an advocate and mentor for women entering in the industry. Today, we're digging deeper into women in trucking, realities and challenges, safety, leadership, mentorship, representation, and what it really takes to survive and to be successful in the industry as a woman. Kelly Lynn, Gail, thank you for joining us. Hey guys, how you doing?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. And so happy to have both of you on and get to share all of your experience. You guys have been doing a lot of great things out there on the road and off. So man, what's it been like for you? We'll start with you, Kelly Lynn. Last time we talked about how those unexpected paths into the trucking industry was especially
Right.
getting started later in life after the marching band trip
Right.
experience. Yeah, and
Right.
looking back on that, what do you think was giving you personally maybe that you didn't realize you were searching for at the time?
I think in order, as a parent, in order to be able to raise your kids, put eggs in their basket, you have to put eggs in your basket. And I think being a parent takes a lot out of you. And it was time to put some eggs in my basket. And I think that's kind of like where I was headed with this whole journey. I was looking for something new. But like every so often there's just a new challenge within this industry. And yeah, our industry is at a really interesting spot right now with how fast legislation is changing, and the current administration under FMCSA and USDOT are just so quick to make decisions. And I really think they're doing a pretty good job of listening to drivers and where we're at and our concerns. And there's a lot of opportunity there to make a change and make a difference in the industry. So that's kind of where I'm putting my efforts right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Gail, I mean, your background brings a unique perspective to transportation and leadership. What originally drew you to the trucking industry, and what was your experience been for navigating the spaces where often men sit there who dominate it?
Sure. I had gone through a couple of life changing events, and life had beat me up pretty good. And I decided that it was time to retire from 25 years of marketing and owning my own agency. And I saw the classic yellow sign on the back of a trailer that said truck drivers guaranteed $2,500 a week. And I just started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to reinvent myself. So at 54, I got my CDL, never been on a truck before, and been on this journey ever since. And kind of wish I would have started earlier.
Amazing. I mean, that's a big jump, and also, you think you have a certain amount of freedom when you have your own business, but sometimes you can be more
Oh.
tied down.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you have your own business, even if like you're trucking and you're an owner operator, you're also your payroll person and your insurance person and your tax person. So you wear a whole lot of hats. So for me, going into trucking and as a company driver, I just get to do my job and I enjoy my job and I get paid and I don't have to wear all those hats anymore. So that was a great transition for me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Same here. Did you always see yourself working around transportation and logistics? Maybe as you were younger, as a kid, you like trucks?
No, no.
Um,
I liked the show BJ and the Bear when I was young. That's how old I am. But it really it hit kind of like a fluke and a lot of personal evaluation about what I wanted to do and not do. And I was in a moment where I was like, I don't want to be tied to a computer anymore. I want to be independent. I want to move around and travel. Kids are grown. I'm on my own. And trucking, just the more I looked into it, the more it foot the bill. And, I just went to CDL school and went for it.
Nice. What lessons has transportation taught you about leadership and communication?
Interestingly enough, I often, well, occasionally I have special requests within my company to do different kinds of runs, primarily because I know how to communicate. I also advanced pretty quickly into training at the company, and I'm proud to say I have a good reputation around that. And I believe it's because of a long history in communication, leadership, mentorship, and training has always been somewhat a part of my background as well. At my current company, Clean Harbors, we train primarily around hazmat compliance and our technology, and we usually recruit in experienced drivers. So I'm not training people to drive. I'm training them to how to integrate into our company and be successful and compliant.
Right. Yeah. You want to be safe. You want to get the job done correctly. They pay them to do it right. Right. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So,
Exactly.
I would say that one of the reasons that Gail and I are kind of drawn to each other is because she brings a level of professionalism to the industry and to her job, and understands that this is a professional career, and she always is representing that. When it doesn't matter what part of the dirty facility we're on, we're still professionals.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of people like us that are in this industry that come from a different career, and we understand professionalism, we understand
Mhm.
the value of leadership, and we're just taking that into a different arena, and it happens to
For
be
sure.
trucking, which is a
nice.
really big arena.
Let's speak on that. I mean, professionalism. I mean, it's one word that may get overlooked, but I like how you highlighted it and put it out there for people to see that it is still
Mhm.
important. Do you
Yeah.
feel like professionalism is kind of pushed to the wayside sometimes?
Uh, I think I'm constantly having that battle with people that don't think that that I'm not a professional,
Mm,
and when I introduce myself, I always say I'm a professional driver, and you can see the question marks going around in their head, like, what does that mean? It's race cars? What?
Right.
Like when I say professional driver, they don't think commercial trucks. They just
Right.
don't. And so like I make sure I take my job seriously, and I dress for the profession and I
Mhm.
care about, I'm a company driver too, and I care about whether or not I'm making the best decisions, business decisions for my company as well. And it's one of the things I talk about a lot, is that this is a profession, and there's nobody else in the cab making decisions for me or with me.
Mhm.
I'm the one that is trained and in the cab and expected to make that decision in less than a second's notice, right?
Mhm.
And I'm a professional, and I take my job seriously.
I think one of the things I've noticed too is different industries define professionalism differently. So many of the drivers that I encounter, they consider themselves professional because they're safe, they don't have violations, they manage their truck and their decisions. But then it just stops when it comes to communication, or stops when it comes to how they interact with other people,
Or
whether it's at
customers.
the counter at a truck stop or whether it's their coworkers. The communication piece isn't always included in how some drivers perceive professionalism.
yeah, that's perfectly said. I mean, I couldn't say it better myself. You both are
Hmm.
doing a great job with that and championing being a professional. We're not just here to get paid. There's also something that we want to carry on, a legacy that we want to leave behind, and we don't want people to just think, "Hey, this trucking thing isn't really necessary." When you get on the airplane and they stand there and they have their uniform on and they greet you and give you that, like you see the captains in there taking care of business, doing their checks.
Hmm.
You feel like there's a level of professionalism here when you get on the plane. So why not be the same for the truck? So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So reality versus the image, women in trucking. What's one thing that people completely misunderstand about women in trucking? We'll start with you, Kelly Lynn. Do you think that people are misunderstand how mentally demanding the trucking industry can be for a woman?
Well, I think there's a couple of things they really misunderstand, and one of the major ones is I'm not safe. I'm battling it out here, protecting myself from, I don't know, robbers or, unsavory people or something like that. And the second thing is I just don't think the general public views my job as a professional career. And, I'm constantly, raising awareness and educating people about what it's really like for me out here as a woman. And I do have challenges that my male counterparts don't have. I think it's harder for women. It's harder definitely for us to get into this industry.
Mhm.
But yeah, what would you say, Gail?
Well, I would say some of the perception that I personally experienced was around my perception. So recently, I had an instance. I was in Wyoming. It's 50-mile-an-hour winds and 70-mile-an-hour gusts, and I have a light trailer. I'm training an owner operator. He's following me. I make the call for us. We're going to pull over. We're just not going anywhere here. So in my mind, I think that somewhere someone is saying if she was a man, she would keep going.
Mm.
And I know that does happen, even though there might be men parked all over. If a woman parks, there might be the perception that we're weak or we're overcautious or we're not pushing through the way we should. And you never know exactly when it's happening. Sometimes you get a comment, sometimes you don't. But it does come up as if we're not pulling our weight in some way, when actually, for the most part, to have any respect out here, we're often outperforming most of our male counterparts.
Yeah, that's great. I think that safety is something you should continue to hold on to
Mhm.
because once it's gone, it's really hard to get it back. So you're doing the right
Mhm.
thing, and those people that may have a comment, they're not the ones taking the risk. So keep doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great job.
Exactly.
I love hearing that. So, how important is confidence for women entering the industry? I mean, maybe give an eye opener as to what it was like cracking that door open, and then like you're doing now, you're busting it down. But what was it like for you at first when you took a peek?
My
I gotta say, I still don't have confident days.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
trucking.
yeah, I'm like, I still feel like a rookie every once in a while. I'm like, when am I gonna learn everything I need to know?
Yeah, same here. Um, yeah, it's hard finding the resources and the time, right? So, how about you,
Mhm.
Gail?
Um, I can see. So I've been at it for 6 years, and I know where my confidence now is versus it was that first year. That first year was brutal.
Mm.
Everything about it, because I didn't understand how truck shops worked and how you shower and how you manage all your personal routines and all of that. You have to really reinvent how you do everything in order to live on the road. And as you go along, as you start nailing that crazy backing situation, and as you make a safety call, to pull over the wind, and then the next morning you see all those trucks blown over, and as you get places and people compliment you for getting things done and being on time and having your paperwork in order, the confidence builds. The confidence builds. And then as a trainer, as the people I train, as they call me, with the questions, then confidence builds. I'm not saying I'm not sometimes the shit show at the truck stop backing in, but I don't care anymore. I have the confidence to not be bothered by it.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Slow and steady wins the race, and learn
Mhm.
as you go, and keep that level of safety up. Kind of keeps you propped up where you need to be, and I can totally see you guys doing it. I wish I could see you in action. So yeah, that's great. Maybe
So where do you run?
me. Right now, yeah, I work for United Parcel Services, UPS,
Okay.
and they take care of me for going all 48 states. So I have a route right now that does 6,000 miles on a week. So it's a
6,000
team,
miles a week?
6,000. Yeah, it's a sleeper team, and so
Okay.
yeah, you go to different hubs, and you drop off a trailer, pick up one, and take it to the next. And this one is a runner route, man. That's not a whole lot of downtime, and they pack
Mhm.
the tight. They pack it really tight. They only give me 35, about 30 minutes at each turn, and then there's no accounting for construction or traffic. So I got to call, let them know I'm going to be delayed.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes it feels real gravy, but at the same time, it's hard on the family when you're gone 5 to
Yeah.
6 days if there's a breakdown sometimes, and then I'm saying, "Hey, I gotta do a podcast." And they're like, "What?" Yeah,
Right. Yeah, my
so
truck actually is broke down right now, and I've been waiting 2 weeks for a part.
wow.
Still
Yeah,
waiting.
parts are tough. I mean, what type of truck are you driving?
It's a day cab, but it's a hydraulic part because I do end dumps and then roll-offs, so, um,
Yeah,
I
that's
it's just
frustrating.
there's another guy that I know that has been waiting for a part for 3 months, and
Wow.
I'm waiting for 2 parts for a hot water heater part for my house too on top of it. So it's not just trucking parts that are really slow right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, more than just the fuel prices. There's a lot of other things that slow things down,
yeah.
and, you gotta get through it, but you're gonna feel the pain in the meantime. I mean, that's,
Well, if I was an owner-operator, that I
Oh
mean,
my god.
this would be a deal breaker for me probably to be out of work for weeks on end.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have to be agile, think of, some other option. I know some people have backup trucks. I don't know how
Yeah,
easy that is to get, but that doesn't sound like fun either. Because
yeah.
I had one route, I went on the leg, I had to change vehicles, I had to change the truck 4 times. I had to get out of this one, get into another one, get out of this one, get into and you gotta change the bed every time and bring all your stuff with you, so, yeah, frustrating, but it's nice that that truck keeps showing up. They would tow a truck from a couple states away just to get to
Oh,
it. Yeah,
keep you guys
so,
moving, yeah.
spend a lot of money just to keep the wheels turning. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a plus side of being working for a larger company. So, thank you, great question. Yeah, I don't know, how to make it out there at a smaller company. You gotta be a lot more patient with the owners and then what they can get what's available at the time, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on how progress has for the industry actually made it for women? We wanna look at some of the positives. What's your perspective as to what's changed?
Mine?
Yeah.
Um, I think so I've been in this industry for a dozen years now. And when I first came in, I really had to search hard to find somebody that was like me, somebody that was a woman in the industry, somebody that was new in the industry. My, I really worked hard to make those connections because I felt like when I asked gentlemen for an answer, I got a man answer instead of a woman answer sometimes. And, now I think there are more groups that are well established, like African American Women Trucking Association, the Women in Trucking Association, Next Gen Trucking Association. There's way more podcasts that are relevant to, the things that are on our mind, right? So I think it's easier now to find groups and find conferences and ways to connect with other women in the industry. Um, and what was the other part of your question?
Yeah, I mean, the advancements, I guess, does it seem like the industry is moving in the right direction? How do you feel about it, or have you had a good experience?
Yeah, I think some of the things I am still talking about today that I was talking about 12 years ago and asking those same questions. And some of the things that are still kind of, I think that the industry needs to grow and change on is driver pay and eliminate the per mile pay and pay us for all of the hours that we work. I do not agree that the industry should be exempt from the Fair Labor Standards Act. We work 70 hours a week. I think we need overtime. And there's costs that come to us and our families personally by working that schedule. And I also think the onboarding training environment for women in this industry needs a serious hard look. It's not okay, the training environment that we go to after we get our CDL and then we're onboarding with our company. And I just want to say shame on you to the industry for the training environments that are standard in this industry. It's really hard to find a company that has a training environment that doesn't require you to share a cab with your supervisor, or as a trainer to share it with your subordinate. Um, and the truck often doesn't stop, and the trainee often is supervised, gets the night shift, and is driving at night unsupervised, not getting any training or instruction and the I don't think that's okay. And I've been on boards before, and we've looked at this issue, and we've looked at other industries that are confined space training environments or working spaces, and there isn't another industry that handles this situation like the trucking industry has been doing for decades.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you for continuing to speak up on that. I mean, I think that's amazing. You're a hero for a lot of people out there to get that out there. Because what's weird is even with that training and that environment, when you do try to say something, it's like something's wrong. Like why are you trying to rattle the rock the boat? Yeah. So I mean, why wouldn't you want to?
I'm still having this conversation, Ray. That's the thing that hurts. That you work so hard. I literally have dedicated years to some of these topics, and I'm still having these conversations. And I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here forever. There's either got to be some change, or somebody else has to come up and take this on and
Yeah.
carry it forward. So
yeah, trying to raise the bar and not lower it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'll play off of what Kelly said a little bit about the training environment when you're new to trucking. I onboarded with a mega carrier, and it was just really nothing short of horrific. There, no concern. And what she said, having me, I was driving inexperienced with a driver trainer asleep in the seat. And being in a truck, they get you trained as fast as you can so they can monetize you as fast as they can, not train you into safety, not anything. It's just the wheels are going to move more with a trainee in there. And then the trainers that I met when I was onboarding into trucking, they were just in it to make a few extra bucks. There was no train the trainer. There was no, here's how adults learn. Here's how if someone has comprehended, process, and can execute on what you train them. They had nothing. So it was really rough. I'm very proud to be part of the training group at Clean Harbors. Of course, most of our new drivers are experienced drivers, so it's a whole different world that we're training from a compliance standpoint. But we never try to make anybody spend the night in a truck with a stranger. Trainees go to hotels every night. The company pays for that. Everybody is treated well, and training is done without any deadlines. We're there to make sure you're safe and compliant and understand, not to get the load to the end point. That's a separate function.
Yeah, I like that because it's hard to go back and retrain someone. So you have that time, you have that moment. Why not take advantage of it and make it really impactful for the person in a positive way? Of course, we could do it in a negative way, but we have enough of that. So
yeah, and that's why I'm there too. I searched long and hard when I decided to make my next transition in trucking, to find a company that aligned with my values, and Clean Harbors was there. And I actually met them at a Women in Trucking conference, and had interacted with that company several times. And at one point I even met the founder, and he asked me, he's like, what can I do to make this a better company for women? I went right down my list, and he checked almost all the boxes. I was like, maybe I'll come work for you one of these days.
Yeah, good job.
And I did. But there are so many companies that are not like this.
Right.
And it's not even a discussion that we have in the industry with people that are coming in, like at CDL schools or on chat forums. This, like, your onboarding training environment conversation rarely comes up.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like there's a pothole in the industry that just won't get fixed.
Yeah.
What do you think about cameras in the truck where they're using that to train you instead of the human interaction. It just fix you, call you out when you did something wrong instead of giving you the proper training from the beginning. They don't give you the good training in the beginning, but then they want to use the camera, the technology to.
I'm going to let Gail take this one first.
Well, I mean, two things. There is a TikToker trucker. His name is Bob, and he spells it B-O-B. That's part of his tag. He was talking about the cameras coming in, and if he is more or less distracted. And he made this point that drivers are, in his point of view, from having driven for 30 years, he feels he is less distracted. It's just now that technology can match up, because prior to the cameras and prior to some of the GPS, he said he was driving down the road with, a brick phone here and a map on his steering wheel and trying to figure things out. And, a lot of distractions in that, or having to stop and make phone calls before that, or, the CB microphone in his hand, a lot more was going on. And he said, now that I have GPS and there's the ELD, I'm very focused on driving. But now we have the cameras that are going to, essentially, they can be programmed to just nitpick a driver. If you're too long in your mirror, or if you're not focused here, or you reach for your coffee. And I feel like if a company is at that point where they don't trust the human being behind the wheel, maybe they're the companies that are time to go to autonomous trucks. Our company is onboarding cameras. They're focused on, is your seatbelt on? Are your hands on the wheel, hands free? And then it's all, everything else is forward facing. I'm not a big fan of the cameras coming in because of all the privacy things. When you're in that seat for 14 hours a day, all kinds of human things happen. And so I don't want that. However, I think we just kind of have to face the facts. It's coming, because if it reduces insurance claims, which at the end of the day, it's always about money. So if a company is going to be able to save money with the cameras, they're going to move forward with it, because that is always the driving factor.
Yeah, it always comes back to money, doesn't it?
Always, always.
Wow. So those are some really great topics you guys brought up, and I hope people get to listen to it and take some time to ponder on it. Where can we improve in the industry? And enough is enough. Why? How many more years do we need to go by, like you said, before we get the point and try to make a change? Just a few more minutes or a few more hours can make a huge difference. Slow things down a little bit too. I think the quality of which we do things and how we say things, and we don't have to be so fast to get it done and check the box. We can slow it down and make sure we do a good quality conversation with people that really that they can remember. It touches them deeply, because this job is heartfelt. You have to really care. And so that comes through in the conversation, and then that person can receive it well. So yeah, keep going, guys. Yeah. So, I mean, women in trucking, I mean, you guys are leaving an impression. The more you guys are coming into the industry, is helping us out. We need that help. So I think that representation, mentorship, and AAWTA has been doing a great job since this episode is about AAWTA. Why are organizations like African American Women in Trucking Association so important right now? What would you say, Kelly?
I am the AAWTA member in our little team here. But the reason that I joined AAWTA is I knew Nicole Ward professionally. Like, we met up at several different points in the industry, like at a conference and at truck shows, and we were on similar boards together. And I really respect her as an individual, and she is so full of energy. And like you said, this is one of those industry. She cares, right? And I know after I was on the FMCSA Women of Trucking Advisory Board, and we really spent a lot of time talking about barriers to entering the industry. And it's clear that African American women, Native American women, Hispanic women, just women of color in general, have more barriers than the white ladies. And it's something that I'm never going to experience because I'm white, right? And so in order to be able to help these women, I need to be more well informed about what some of their challenges are. And that's why I joined AAWTA. And I even called Nicole and I said, I'm a white girl. What do you
Mhm.
think if I joined your association? Am I gonna get lots of shade?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
and
like,
she's like, "No." She's like, everybody needs their allies. We're better together." And it's the same thing that I said in other venues, right? Other arenas, other conversations. We're better together. And it's the same with ATA. And so I volunteer for them at Matt's and I donate to their scholarship fund. I donate office equipment to their office so that the interns will have MacBooks in order to be able to do their work. And in return, I'm just staying tuned in so that I can learn more about how to support women of color in this industry. So
thank
that's
you. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh,
Sometimes when we get involved in something, we don't know where it's going to go. We see the title, we say, "Hey, what does this involve?" But the more time you spend with, it, I can see
mhm.
and hear it in your voice that the quality is there, and it's not to bring other people down to
mm-mm,
where we're struggling, but it's to elevate everyone up to that higher level.
Mhm.
So I think that's what you're doing. Please keep that up. And Gail, how about you? How has this
Well,
organization personally helped you, or what
um,
you've observed?
well, Kelly is such a powerhouse of support and mentorship for women just across the board. Um, I find that regardless of industry, individuals who have a support system and have a community are able to excel better than those who are floundering out there on their own. So
yeah.
it doesn't, the organizations matter, but whatever niche creates the community that helps people to, you know, have their back so that they can go out there and work, it's good for all of us, whether that is a genre of women going into trucking or men going into nursing. That because things happen. It's like we all need to understand we have lots of options, lots of choices, and the more support we provide, whether it's formally through organizations and associations or just one-on-one mentorships or experience, the better everyone is. There's no reason to hold any industry to a certain demographic or profile anymore. Everybody should have their choice to live their life the way they want and earn their living the way they want.
True. True
Isn't
that.
that amazing? Ah,
Mhm.
man, you said it so nicely. The fact that we can be together at something versus fighting against each other. I wish we had more of that going on in the world.
Right,
So
right.
nice.
And it's an unnecessary fight. There's enough room for everybody.
Yeah.
There's enough room for, trucking, the common conversation for, has it been a decade? There's a shortage, there's not enough, and it's such a high turnover. So there is room for everyone in trucking um, to learn and find the niche within this industry that works for your individual life, whether it's local, regional, construction, or hazmat like what we do. There's
Yeah.
lots of options.
And then there's
Yeah.
lots of room for training. So
Mhm.
instead of just discipline, you want to,
Right.
see, hey, the person, we got to take care of this. We got to get rid of that person, or
Yeah.
we can try to help that individual elevate their career to a higher level, like you mentioned earlier, the professionalism that we
Mhm.
need in the industry.
Yeah.
So hold on to the drivers and go for the
Mhm.
ride, right? This is the journey we're on
Yes.
together,
Yeah.
logistics and
And I'll,
transportation.
I'll risk and put in a shameless plug here again for Clean Harbors. If you're a woman and listening and considering trucking or considering a company, I would say one of the reasons why women do very well with our company, one as a driver, when you're running hazmat, there's a level of administrative work that is not present when you're running freight, gravel, agriculture. And usually women somewhere in their background, they've done some administrative work. They know how to handle paperwork. So that gives them an edge already where a lot of men find that aspect of hazmat very frustrating, very tedious, and women just seem to grasp onto it because we've usually had that role at some point. And also, I've heard the statistic that women are safer. We're cheaper to insure. We have less accidents. So when you're doing a dangerous job, who do you want behind that wheel? Whose reputation and statistics fit that wheel the best to be safe, to save the company money, to make decisions in favor of safety. And that's why, we really welcome women in. And I love when I get to train a woman. It's probably one in every 7 or 8 people is a woman. And I get very excited about that because for the most part, it's still men coming through, but it's exciting when a woman does.
Yeah, and they just put out this last week, I noticed they put out the number of female drivers, women drivers that we have in our company. We're still at 14%. So
Right.
we're right there with the national average.
Yeah.
I think we're a better than average company.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the numbers are something to look at, when it comes to equal pay and also the equality of, how many women are in the industry. Like you're saying, 14%. Is that something that we are okay with? We got to really take a good hard look at that as an individual, as companies, and as a group, like you said, as a community. Are we being there? Are we showing up for each other? So yeah, great job, guys. Man, I can't say it enough. This is thank you guys for being able to come on the show and talk about these important topics, these things that concern people, to let them know too that they're not alone. So as far as safety, survival, and awareness, I know safety is something women often think about differently on the road. You see these rest stops being built. I know there's some progress there, but what are some realities around safety that people outside of trucking don't fully understand? Maybe.
You want to start, Gail?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll speak to that. My first year of trucking, I really did think that it was going, people said you have to have a gun, you have to have a taser, you got to be, all of these things. Most of that for me was not true. I can only speak from my own experience. The better I got at just being smart and aware and safe, the less issue I have from other truckers or human beings. I have the same risk as men. It's the weather, the road conditions, the motorists on the road, the lack of parking, the lack of lighted parking, all of those things, that's the same for all of us. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. Walking across a dark parking lot, just the risk of twisting your ankle and falling down in stale urine is high. It's very high for all of us. So all of those things are broad for trucking. And in terms of the female things, I think different people have different experiences. I get very concerned for the young women coming in. I think that it may be easier for someone to approach them, to say things to them, and they might not have the life experience to shut that stuff down yet. I feel like I have the life experience to shut a lot of that stuff down, and it just kind of goes away because nobody really wants the confrontation. So I have a lot of concern for young women who come in and hoping they get the best experience without having somebody rattle their cage as they learn and get confident.
Yeah. Man, how about you, Kel?
I have had safety issues. They have never really been they've never been from anybody in my company. I consider truck stops my safe place. And everybody else is doing the same thing I'm doing. We just want to do what we're doing, right? And the issues that I've had have been at customers or other places that I've had risky, unsafe situations. And I agree with Gail that, it's going throughout my job. I look at safety as a self-awareness issue. And it's up to me to do good trip planning, to pay attention to my surroundings and make good choices, just like I raise my daughters to do when they go to the shopping mall or they're on a cross-country trip. You need to, if your antennas are going off, there's a reason they're going off, and you need to listen to your antennas. And
Exactly.
part of that is paying attention and making good choices. Truck drivers, as a general rule, are not my safety issue. My safety issue is other vehicles and other people that are making unsafe situations for me that are not in they're not other truck drivers. So,
People get behind the wheel and they seem like they turn into a different person.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, or, like, I just yeah, I mean, like, at customers,
I'm not
people
sure
Mhm.
are
why
gonna
they wanna do
harass
that
you
with their
or
job.
you're the entertainment, right? Like, I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many times I've pulled up to a customer and everybody's head turns and they're just
Yeah.
waiting for you to make a mistake. They're not sitting there cheering you on. They're staring
Mhm.
because they're like, "Oh, look, let's see if she can really do this." Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Like it's a competition or something, one of those, reality shows or something like that. See if it's something somebody's gonna mess up where they gotta leave the show or something. I don't know where their mindset gets instead of just helping someone out. I mean, or they get the cameras out, I gotta get a video, don't wanna
Mhm.
just step over there and say, "Hey, what can I help you with?" That good customer service. Like you said, you're at their place to help them get their goods.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't yeah, that is confusing.
I
Well,
had a
I I gotta
situation
say
just recently.
I've never been in a situation where I thought a gun would help me, and
Mhm.
I've traveled internationally around the world to many different countries, many dangerous areas. I've had guns pointed at me both on my job and overseas, and I never once thought that a gun was what I needed. What I needed was to make a good decision to exit the area, and that was my safe decision. Um, and this industry, though, I do have to say, you're familiar with Project 61, right? And the reason Project 61 is called Project 61 is because 61 years old is the average age of death for a truck driver, which is sad. And that is unsafe in itself. And I'm glad that there are people and organizations that are raising the awareness and hoping and trying, working towards making a difference for us, right? And if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, our truck drivers die at an alarming rate. When crashes go wrong for us, they go really wrong. And the majority of crashes, in my perception, are not caused by the professional driver. It's something else that
Yeah.
another driver that caused that. Yet we are held to a higher standard because we are the
Mhm.
professional. And I was just having a conversation a couple of days ago with a new driver. She's 2 years in, and she was complaining about other drivers and that they were annoying her and she was getting angry, and I'm like, look, the reality is we're the professional, so it's our job to anticipate what they're going to do and to avoid them. That's your job, and getting mad at them is not going to alleviate the situation. You need to remove yourself from that situation. You need to slow down and let them go on. They can go on and crash somewhere else, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, mental health too is wellness and keeping that balance. Mental health in trucking doesn't just get talked about enough. Both
Oh,
of you,
yeah.
but how do you protect your peace of mind in a demanding industry?
Um, for me, I came into the industry having already done a lot of work in being at peace with myself. You're alone a lot, facing a lot of obstacles by yourself. Whether I just recently was driving and one of my air hoses came off the trailer, leaking air, and I'm like in Houston, you know, with the container trucks like flying by me, and here I am, like, oh my. So it's like you have got to have a peace of mind so that when things do happen, again, you can make the safe decision to get off to the side of the road without endangering other people and to handle things. And then also when you're alone, you have to just like your diet, you have to put things into your brain that enrich your mind, whether that's, podcasts or things that are uplifting or what have you. You have to make a conscious effort to say, I've got to keep my brain and my wellness and my mental health healthy. It's not automatic. You whatever you are putting in there or not putting in there is what's going to come out, just like your health in your body. If you're going to eat, we all know, if you're going to eat sugar and carbs all the time, you're going to develop diabetes, and that's going to impact all of your health. But we don't talk about the mental health diet that you need and how that has to be maintained. And you have to have a routine to keep your head together. It's lonely and it gets
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What advice would you give women struggling with burnouts? Start with you, Kelly. Kelly.
Take a break. I have called my boss before and said, "Look, I need some time off. I'm just exhausted. I
Hmm.
just got to take a few extra days off." And that's humbling to do that, to say, "Hey, I know you need me to do this, but I just can't right now. I need a couple of extra days." And I have the best boss in the whole wide world. And I love that I have that relationship with him, and he understands that sometimes you just need to take a break. But also, when I do my 34s, I really try and go adventuring and explore the place where I'm at by foot. I don't do Ubers hardly ever. Maybe if the weather's bad, I would Uber somewhere, but I will usually spend about 8 hours just walking wherever I'm at. And I enjoy it. It's like I'm investigating the town. I'm seeing, like what neighborhoods are like. And I think you get a real feel for, who's living in a community when you're just walking around by foot on that. That's one of the things. So, you're getting your exercise in there.
There you go.
And you're just clearing your space and doing something different. And but I try and stay connected with my family and friends. And I'm only have a couple of hours in the evening to eat and exercise and do my paperwork and all that kind of stuff, but I do try and maintain those connections, because early on in my driving career I got really lonely, and I just I just felt like I was out there all by myself.
Yeah, I remember that story you told me about COVID, where you were driving and there was nobody around, and the
Yeah.
peace that was out there too. I mean, you still
Yes.
you
Mhm.
took the time to see the positive in it. I mean, I think that was great.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What would you say, Gail, is physical stress or emotional stress? Which one's harder?
Um, I don't know if I could rank them. They each have their place, and it depends on what's going on. Like, I've been trapped in an ice bank for 3 days in my truck when it was minus 12 in Nebraska. That was a kind of mental stress I was not prepared for. Because if I stepped outside my truck, like my glasses froze, it hurts to breathe. I'm a Phoenix girl. That was insanely mentally hard. The physical stress, at the end of the day when you've been driving, and I'm a long haul driver, I stay out for 4 to 6 weeks at a time. So it's like, over the course of a couple of weeks, if I neglect myself and don't do the things like Kelly said, get out of the truck, especially on your 34s, and go do something, anything. It doesn't even matter if you go sit at the bar at Applebee's, just get out of your truck and put your phone down and look at the world, so that something else is happening for you, that you're not just at a windshield or not just in your phone. Let your brain absorb other things. But the message I had, and I've had good mentors in this industry, is this a conscious thing? It doesn't happen automatically
True.
to be in this industry and maintain your health. If when you get unhealthy, it's because you've gone out without any kind of plan, without any kind of backup, whether it's food or mental or what have you. But getting out of the truck is probably the most important thing you can do.
Wow, that's nice.
Mhm.
I mean, what would you guys both say when it comes to the industry? If you were to imagine more women in the industry, what would it look like? Have you guys thought about that, and maybe like say, hey, one day it'll get to this point where women are,
I
it's like a
don't
50-50 or something like that?
I am certain the urine smell at the truck stops would go away.
You got
That
me.
is one improvement I'm certain of.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
trash situation, I'm sorry, I'm blaming men on that. It is out of control.
Yeah. I would have to agree. Yeah. Or some sort of, yeah. Well, anyway, I could just go.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So
For a long
I
time.
don't even want to talk about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think the 70-hour work week would be shot to smithereens.
Nice.
I
I
really,
like
really,
that. Hey, I like these projections.
yeah.
Yeah, because it
Mhm.
can get pretty rough out there. The odors, the smells, the sights, and the hours. So both of those, hey, I'm hoping for that too. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, well, okay. So you're a team driver, right? You do
Mhm.
6,000 miles a week. How do you get out of the truck? Like,
Yeah, it's if there's not any spot where we're sitting still, waiting for a load, then you're going. Yeah. If you want to stay out there longer, maybe you don't have a family, you're a single person. Um, maybe you don't mind, a little extra time if it allows it in your schedule. But other than that, yeah, it's a runner. Yeah, you got to keep going. I know UPS has like we're kind of pampered a little bit, so I know we're I know we have that part about the industry, but there's some things too that they put in a lot of hard work to get to where they're at, and also for women and being a part of a union, there's a lot of pluses to that too. Being having a collective voice. There's some downsides, I guess, that the union can come with, but if you just focus on the positive, that keeps you going. I do see a lot of women working for UPS, and they love it. They seem to be doing great. Smile on their face. So yeah, put a plug out there for UPS, huh?
well, I
Mhm.
actually have a friend. She was in the yellow when that dissolved, and she wound up. She drives as a team driver for UPS as well now, and she's really happy. She's doing well and
Yeah.
loving life.
ABF is another good one too. I heard.
Yeah.
Um, they're pretty steady growth, and they let you get your job done. They don't harass you.
Hmm.
Heard a lot of good things about them. I hope that's true across the board, and champion those guys on too as a union shop. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's grass is never greener. I say in the trucking industry, you got to be careful trying to look too
Right.
far over there at what you don't got. You got to be thankful for what you do got. So and that's too women in trucking. You guys are doing a great job with that too, focusing on what you need to do to get those numbers
Mhm.
and to be the safer option in the seat. I like
Mhm.
that. Keep going with that, and it'll raise the bar for all of us to keep that instead of lowering it. It's too easy to let the bar slip. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that you need to consider if when you're in this industry, it a profession, and so make set your goals and your career goals so that you have a plan and that you're working towards something and build putting more skills in your back pocket, right? That's how I wound up where I'm at. I did dry van for a while, and then I was a trainer, and then I went and did specialized equine, and then it's hazmat, and I'm operating equipment that I really didn't
Mhm.
ever plan to operate, but it was a good challenge. I still have other things that I want to do in the industry. Like I really want to do oversize, overweight. I would love to haul windmill blades through the country. I love driving out in the country, and to have 100 or 150-foot long blade. I don't even know how long they are, but they're long. I would love to have that challenge and be the one that's hauling that
Mhm.
through
Mhm. Yeah,
the,
they look
the
like
dirt
superheroes
roads.
out there, don't they? How about you,
Mhm.
Gail? Any last words you want to put in for the women out there to keep going, to keep trucking?
Yeah, I think women by nature, we do keep going, and just know, you know, it's not about whether you're going to get knocked down. It's about getting back up. In this industry, and like many industries, you're just going to get beat up. Don't let it set you back. You're going to get stronger and know more each time. And if it is getting you down, get yourself a community. Start talking to people. We're there to support. We all talk to each other, and it's important to talk to people who are in your industry and doing your job. because everybody has their stories of when they sat in the driver's seat and went, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Every one of us has that story,
Yeah.
and that can help lift you up and carry you through to another year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys are champions of doing that. Kelly, Lynn, and Gail, thank you so much. I really appreciate both of you
Thank
coming on the show,
you.
having an honest conversation about what women go through, their experiences in the industry, especially in the things people don't always see or talk about publicly. You guys aren't afraid to tell them what it's like. So keep doing that. Yeah. So what I love about the conversation like this is that they go beyond trucking, and they're about
Mhm.
confidence, leadership, resilience, safety, mentorship, and that community that you talk about too with AAWTA and all the other organizations that are out there that are behind you, helping you do what you need to do, that know that you're not alone, and then there's a space for you in the industry. So keep that great work. I hope to see more women in the industry. And I think organizations like African American Women in Trucking Association are helping create those communities. And that's what the focal point should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to let you guys know that where can people show their support for you guys, or or just kind of connect with you guys in the future for maybe any questions or anything like that.
Well, you can find me on. Oh, go, Gail.
I was also say that probably the best way to connect with me professionally is through LinkedIn. And then I have other socials, but they're very family based. So LinkedIn would be the place.
Yeah, I would say LinkedIn for me as well, but you can also find me through African American Women Trucking Association or Women in Trucking Association as well, because I'm on their image team also. So
That's awesome. So 2-for-1 deal here. And thank you guys so much for being on the show. And as always, this is another episode of That's Delivered. I'm your host, Trucking Ray. Until next time, stay safe, stay driven, and keep rolling.
thank you.
Thank you.